Episode 5. Episode 5 of this town starts with Dante making a big decision. He believes that in order to write music about women, he needs to experience them. And being a virgin, that's not possible right now. Preferably he'd like to sleep with Fiona, and he speaks to Jeannie firsthand about this. He has a whole rehearsed speech, and while his first two choices are a bust, his third is not. This happens to be an escort, whom he's acquired the services of at Carmen's club. When he shows up though, Dante is distracted and wants to play music there with his band. Dante ends up drinking and smoking dope before the big occasion, and wakes up on a roundabout in the middle of a playground at the estate. Jeannie is there and she tries to talk sense into Dante, who's still high, and has lost his hat too. So naturally, he rushes off to try and get it back, much to Jeannie's dismay. Meanwhile, Bardon heads to his meeting wearing a wire. There's a van parked outside, listening to every word, as Bardon sits with the group. The IRA aren't particularly happy about it, but Bardon keeps his cool while he makes the drinks. And just like that, lemongrass is mentioned by Eamon. They've taken the bait. Greg meets with his superiors, who change his mission. He now needs to find out what the Coventry Battalion are planning to do in London. If they do, then the pair will be free to go. He also reveals that the warehouse that the band are playing has also been bugged, and he thinks they sound pretty well. Well, thanks. Bardon, though, is sketchy and twitchy about the whole ordeal and doesn't want to wear a wire again. However, this ordeal appeals to be nearing its end, so they need to be careful and get out of this in one piece. It's the homestretch now, baby. Dante's newfound love for booze is sending him down a slippery slope. His old man used to be an alcoholic, and given Dante's current erratic state, at least, more than usual anyway, Bardon decides to take him to Estella's. If anyone can knock some sense into him, it's her. However, Estella herself has been drinking, so that's not exactly a great start. Bardon speaks to Estella in confidence and tells her this is do or die. She needs to get clean and keep Dante clean too. This band is the way out for everyone, and he makes his mum promise that the next drop of alcohol she take will be champagne when they rise to the top. Estella doubts her own credentials, but she does agree to start attempt number 535. Meanwhile, Deuce gets bad news. It turns out, he and 200 others have received a letter informing them of compulsory redundancy with immediate effect. He wants to fight back and decides to go on a protest march. Greg shows up back home and when he hears about this, decides to join his dad. With signs and placards in hand, they head out and protest. However, the planned route on the march is blocked off and unfortunately, another riot breaks out. Through all of this, Deuce is arrested. Behind bars, he prays to the Lord and wants guidance. Before he's let go by the police, he's beaten down and racially abused by the officers. Carmen comes under fire from those friends from Sparkhill. They quiz him about Greg and also the spaceman too, clearly testing him for how he reacts to lies and truths. He struggles to answer whether he would trust Greg or not, and that frames him in a bad light. These men remind him that it was he who put them in touch with Greg in the first place, so by extension, it'll be his fault if anything happens. As a result, Carmen is tasked with keeping watch of Greg and feeding back any info about him they may not know. At the same time, the group recruit a new drummer called Maddie. She's a bit rough around the edges, but she's a solid drummer, and after, the group decide to vote on whether to let her in or not. She has needle marks all the way up her arms, and that splits the vote. Dante, though, is enamored by this woman, and her eccentric attitude is all over the place. In front of everyone, Bardon points out that he's about to go on a big operation with his dad. However, he wants this band to be a success, and alongside Jeannie and Fiona, this is their way out from this black hole. Bardon promises to do everything he can to get back, but they need a good drummer. And that swings the vote in their favor, and they vote to let the new girl in. The episode review. The penultimate episode of this town sets everything up for a turbulent finale to come. There are plans inside plans, and the drama involving Dante and his experiences finally come to a head when he meets a drummer just as crazy as he is. At the same time, we also see more of this operation and the drama involving Greg and the organization. It's clear that they believe something is amiss, but so far Bardon has managed to keep his cool. Whether he'll continue to do so going into the finale, however, is anyone's guess. For now, though, everything is resting on a precarious knife edge, and we'll have to wait and see what direction this one goes next.